Bro, what do you mean a real gamer?
Hey, the question is for
The
you, not for
ability to
me.
be able to not just play shooter games.
Type shit.
I don't think there's just thing as a real gamer. Like gaming is not something that has a hierarchy, in my opinion. It's
Okay,
just a hobby.
there's levels to this shit, bro. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you
It
this.
is.
Not, it's
Okay,
not
no, let me ask you this.
levels. It's just either you do it that much or you don't do
I'm
it
gonna tell
that
you why this
much.
works.
It's not like a progressive.
Hey, no, I'm gonna tell you why there's levels. All right, I'm gonna tell you why. All right, riddle me this. You played games all your life. I'm not saying you are this age, but just go with me on this one. Let's say you play games all your life, and you turned 30 years old. How many games should you have played by then?
Hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Dozens.
Just give me like a
Hundreds.
number.
100.
You know what? Shout out to Ado because that's my answer too. Look, this is why there's levels to this shit, right? Would you call someone who only plays Call of Duty a gamer? Don't lie. Be for real.
I mean, I wouldn't call anyone a gamer in general, unless it's like a descriptive term, like oh, you're a gamer boy, like descriptively, but not like for real, for real.
If because okay, let's say you're a Call of Duty player, right? All you play is Call of Duty. And I said, hey, do you know about the Game Awards? Do you think I'm gonna have a good conversation with you about that?
I don't think most people in general want to talk about the Game Awards or even know what that is.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. There's levels to this shit.
No, it's not levels. It's just familiarity. It's like if I said there's levels to I don't know Yu-Gi-Oh, or for example. I mean, I guess for Yu-Gi-Oh, debatably, it's kind of like chess, so there is technically levels. But what's another example of something that's like just purely like Pokemon, for example, right? Pokemon is not like Yu-Gi-Oh or like Dungeons and Dragons. That's like, Pokemon is just like 1+1. It's not really levels to playing Pokemon. Like either you play it a lot and you're familiar with whatever competition of whatever, or you don't play it and you're not familiar with whatever. Like it's not like I am now advanced and now I'm like masterclass level and now I'm like sensei level. Like it's not like that.
Yo, what's up, Deontay? What's up, bro?
Are you saying
Hi,
are you
Deontay.
saying that like hey Coda, are you saying like Pokemon players are not real gamers? Was that the argument?
No, I was
No,
comparing
he's
Pokemon
making
in
an
the sense
example.
that like Pokemon is not like other games like Yu-Gi-Oh or chess or Dungeons and Dragons, where like you can create a distinction between someone's level because like you can get better and better and better through strategy, while Pokemon is just like more of like a 1+1 algorithm as far as how to win, where it's not like, oh, I'm intermediate, now I'm advanced, now I'm like masterclass advanced, now I'm
But the but I think that is the case though. I
for
don't play
what?
Pokemon, but for Pokemon, I think that there is a level of skill that it takes for you to
Have you played?
understand.
But you just said you didn't play Pokemon.
I've played it before, but I
Okay.
don't play it regularly, and I haven't played it in a while. There's strategy involved. It's a turn-based game, so there is definitely strategy. As you all know, if you've played it, you know certain Pokemon types don't work on other Pokemon types, so it's
Yeah, but
learning.
that's what I'm saying. The algorithm for Pokemon does not involve doesn't apply strategy to the game. I mean that even when you look at the age recommendation for Pokemon, it says 6-year-olds and up versus when Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Dungeons and Dragons materials are sold, it says like 9 years old or 11 years old and up. So just the algorithm and the complexity itself is evident, like
I don't think that's
it's
true. I don't think that's true because no, let me not say that. It's true what you're saying in terms of the age demographic, but I don't think that makes it less difficult
so
because
what other
I don't think
reason
it
would
makes
they
it less
have?
difficult.
What
I
other
think
reason
because
would they?
well, first of all, Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot more reading involved, so your reading comprehension has to be a little bit better. Dungeons and
That's
Dragon is the same
universally
thing.
agreed, but yeah.
Like you have to.
Some
There's a
you,
lot of reading in Yu-Gi-Oh. You have to read every single card almost.
I
So there's a
mean,
lot of so the level of comprehension just from reading that card is going to be difficult for a
it's
6 year
not.
old versus a
No,
9 year
I
old.
mean, Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, Pokemon has ability cards. Like when you look at the ability cards, or to change the stadium, like those descriptions are even longer than Yu-Gi-Oh descriptions. So I mean,
Yeah, but
it's
that's not the bulk of Pokemon. Like I don't think the bulk of the Pokemon cards are
it's
like
the
that. I
same
do agree
reading
with you.
comprehension. There's not any advanced words on Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I wasn't. That wasn't what I was referencing. I'm
okay,
not saying that
let me put it
they're
this way.
using
Hey,
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious on a card.
Aiden, hold on. I got it. Aiden, let me ask you this, right? What's something that you're really passionate about? You can say Pokemon, you can say whatever. I don't care what it is, but like, what's something like you're passionate about? Like, you know everything about,
Like hobby
like
wise or career wise?
hobby wise. We'll go hobby. We'll go hobby.
Hobby, MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, cool. MMA, right? I don't know shit about MMA, right? So if you and me are trying to have a conversation about MMA, and you're telling me like, hey, yo, this technique is cool. Oh my god, this guy, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just a fan of Conor McGregor, bro. I just like how he punches people. Do you think I'm gonna start to have a deep conversation with you at some point? Be so for real,
Um,
bro.
it depends on
Or
the
do you feel like
context
you're
of the
gonna have to connect with
conversation,
the conversation?
because like for
Right,
example,
but
two
do you
people
feel
who
like,
two,
but
two
hold on,
people
hold
who
on. Do
haven't
you
played
feel?
football.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you would have to carry the conversation for us to have a discussion, or
It
can
depends
you
on the
just listen to
context
me
of the
say stuff kind of
conversation.
right? But that's what I'm asking you. Do you think you could carry a conversation if all I told you was I love Conor McGregor? You think you
Yeah,
can carry
we
a
could
whole
have a
conversation
conversation.
about
We could
Conor
definitely
McGregor?
have a conversation. It would be like if two people who one of them plays football, the other one doesn't play football, and they're just talking about their fantasy football leagues. They could easily have conversation. But if they were talking about something deeper, like how to train in football, then they wouldn't be able to go in as much depth.
But you
Um,
wouldn't. But that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't have that back and forth. So when I say what's a real gamer, and all the motherfucker plays is Call of Duty, the only thing I could really talk to you about and have a back and forth with is Call of Duty. But I can't tell you about the Game Awards. I can't tell you about
no, but I wouldn't. The
what the new
difference
gaming league is.
is
I can't
martial
tell
arts
you.
is a respectable career, and gaming will always just be a game.
Well, it's a career. I mean, gaming is a professional career. Whether we think that it's a serious career or not is one thing, but it is
Well,
still
yeah. I'm
it's a
saying that the skill
career.
set involved is not something that would, how they
Let me
say
see this one.
40,000 hours, or however many amount of
To
hours
master a skill.
to
Yeah.
master a skill, right? So
Hmm.
gaming is one of those things that similar to people who get into the content industry, or OF industry. Like, it's not something that requires that amount of input in hours to master a
That's
specific
not
game.
true. That's not true at
That's
all.
not true.
That's actually very false. Now
It is.
you're so gaming. So not only is it's so you're not fighting, right? So fighting is a different skill. Everybody is not good at gaming. If it were that easy, everybody could pick up a joystick or a controller right now and play and be a beast at anything, but you can't. There's a
They
reason I don't,
could. They just decide not to, because
but
it's
No,
a.
you
you
cannot.
can. No, you cannot. I play
Wait,
Call of Duty. It's funny that you talked about that. When I play casual, I do a great job. Maybe I win. Sometimes I lose. I have a great time. When
Mhm.
I play the actual Call of Duty, I can't get a single elim. I can't. I can't even run on the map without getting shredded in 2.5 seconds
Okay,
because my
which Call
level
of
of
Duty are we
skill,
talking about?
I was Black Ops 7 or in pretty much any of them. It's not even
Oh,
just that.
well,
I'm
I
not
only
really
play
good
Cold
at first
War.
persons. I'm not really good at first persons, but what I'm saying, I'm okay. But what I'm saying is the level of skill that those individuals have it far exceeds my level of skill because they've spent hours playing this. Even a game like The Sims, to the average person, that's nothing. But no, there's a lot that goes into The Sims
Okay, so
playing
I
it.
So
understand what you're saying, right? But like at the same time, for example, like let's say there is someone in the content industry or just any other comparable industry that doesn't require a sacrifice of both
Hmm.
mental and physical tolls, and that person has done like hours and hours and hours combined within their 38, let's say they're 35 to 38 years old, 35-year-old male, and combined in their entire lifespan they've had over 20,000 or over 30,000 hours worth of
content.
some content, intercourse, whatever else. It doesn't necessarily have to be with another partner. It could be themselves, whatever else. And even though they did that, they didn't sacrifice hours outside of their craft to be able to achieve that. Meaning that, like, for example, you could argue, oh, they maintain their health, but anybody can maintain their health aside from their career. But I'm saying, like, for gaming, they're not training, they're not doing push-ups to be able to do Call of Duty well. There's not conditioning involved aside from the actual career.
I wouldn't say that.
It sounds like you believe that
there is conditioning involved.
Like,
there's
for
a lot
example,
of
when you're a musician,
there's a lot of conditioning.
Like, when you're a musician, you can't just, play songs. You can't just, like, learn how to read music to become a good musician. There's more involved and it's the same thing with sports. You have to condition. You can't just play the sport.
It's the same. It's the same. It is the exact same with gaming.
I gotta say this. I gotta stop you there. You're equating physical. You're equating like physical to like.
No, I'm equating mental and physical versus gaming. That's only just one.
Let me finish. You're equating physical for like something that takes your entire body, and then something that's like physical and more. It's more mental, but physical in terms of like thumbs, and saying like they're not the same. Like,
no, because as a pianist, you only use your fingers. It's still physical. It's still technique.
No, you have to use your eyes. You have to use your ears. You have to use your mind. You have to I think
in context. Hold up, bro.
It sounds to me
in
like
context
you have
of what he said. In context of what he said. When we're talking about physical body parts and using the whole body, my point wasn't to say that it's the only physical body part being used. The point I was trying to make is that I wasn't only talking about sports that use your whole body. I also mentioned musicians that use primarily their hands, just like a video gamer, but it's still using technique. It's not like a gamer.
I think you have this is gonna come across as if I'm trying to insult you, and I'm really not.
Before you go into it, I don't mean to interrupt you. Before you go, I gotta get this off my chest. If it were really that easy to like game like that, we would see a lot more black people in esports. Let's be so fucking for real. We would see a lot more black people in esports.
Wait, you said if what? You would see more people?
If it were that easy.
If it was really that easy, I would not only be hearing about Koreans when it comes to...
I disagree. I 100% disagree. You know why? Because black culture doesn't promote that becoming a gamer in general.
Huh?
Well,
black when your parents say, "Oh, you got to make money for this household," they're not thinking, "Oh, become a gamer."
That's a little iffy on that. I'm gonna say that was a little iffy.
Also, to me, I didn't like that either. But I'm gonna circle away from that because I don't want to get into that conversation. But this is gonna sound like an insult, but it sounds like you have a very narrow-minded view on these types of things that aren't necessarily physical. So now, even if you use sports as an example, tennis is not the same skill as basketball, which is not the same skill as football, which is not the same skill as soccer. So all of these people train differently for their respective sports. It is no different. And I want to also circle back to you talking about people doing content. Yes, while it's not the most difficult thing for you to lay on your back or whatever and do things. However, there is a skill that comes in marketing, right? You have to market yourself. You have to be desirable for people to even want to consume your content. And then on top of that, you have the mental aspect, which is I'm going to be on the internet with my body exposed. My mother could see this. It can be embarrassing for my family. So there's also shame that comes into play as well. So all of these things may not be necessarily physical in terms of I'm hitting a punching bag or learning the latest technique in Brazilian jiu-jitsu or taekwondo, but it is all still a skill.
They're nowhere near the same level of
I didn't say, but that wasn't the conversation was never about which one is more difficult. We can compare that and have that conversation, but you are kind of framing it as if anybody can just do it, and anybody cannot just do it.
Right, and anybody can't stand up because some people are paraplegics. It doesn't mean that
you're being so disingenuous, and you already you are pivoting because you're losing the argument.
How am I being disingenuous when you're comparing when you're comparing video gaming to a career that somebody at 6 years old has to train their entire life just to become a minor league baseball player or a minor league soccer player?
But that's
because
not the
of how
conversation.
difficult it is.
Respectfully, that's not the conversation.
You're comparing somebody playing a video game like Call of Duty.
That's not the conversation. The conversation
eating,
is not
you know,
about the
Cheetos
conversation
in their
is
living
not
room. They're
about.
eating
Well,
Cheetos and sardines in their living room.
You are doing that, but that is that maybe you're doing that or your friends do that. But the people
What are you
that
talking
take this
about?
shit
They're talking about
seriously
basketball.
are not doing that. They are absolutely training. These people are they
Day in
are
and day out.
That
absolutely
is not
training.
training.
To
That is
you,
not
That is
training.
training.
this is why I said you have a very narrow-minded view on these topics. You don't respect it, and because you don't respect it, you don't see the work that these people put into it. I'm gonna give you one more example, and then I'm gonna pass the mic. But I don't work a traditional 9 to 5, right? But people who work in welding and who work in construction, no, the people who work in retail are not doing the exact same things that they are doing. It's not necessarily as physically demanding, but it is physically demanding. It's mentally taxing and it's exhausting. So, but the skill sets to do both of those things are different. But we're not going to say one is less valuable than the other because the other one takes more physical capabilities. That's kind of
Wait, hold on.
very
When you say
asinine.
value, what prerequisite are you using to determine value?
These people
What?
run the country. Without those people
exactly.
working
Okay.
without
You're
those
talking about
people
running the
working
country, so you're
in-
talking about influence on the country or influence society.
yes.
Video games does not have that, so it
But
doesn't,
it does,
doesn't have
though.
value.
The gaming industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. If there was no value in it, nobody would play it. Nobody would do that. Nobody would do it.
Influence and value is not the same thing. Something
I
could
didn't
have
say
a
that they
negative
were.
influence and
But
it
hold
be
on.
invaluable.
Okay,
Time
this
to
is
fuck
crazy.
out. Time to fuck out. Wait.
This your friend?
So wait, I just want to make
No,
sure.
that ain't my friend. I just met this
I want
man.
to make sure. Ada, I want to make sure I understand this correctly. Are you saying video games are not influential?
No, I said they're not valuable. They are influential. As you mentioned, it's a multi-billion,
Not
trillion-dollar
valuable.
industry, meaning that something
What?
can be of major
That is the last
influence.
value.
In
I
fact,
need to know that.
things
is
of
the last
negative influence can be more impactful than something of positive value.
So no, fuck that. You think that the gaming industry is less valuable, but it's valuable to punch a motherfucker in the face for sport? You think that is more valuable? You think that because
First of
you
all,
can throw a man on the ground and put him in a submission for fun and for sport is more valuable than a person sitting in their home playing video games?
So first of all, if you understand the philosophy and the discipline of what it is to become a warrior or what it is to condition your body.
This is not the Roman times. Ain't nobody
No,
fucking
what
warrior.
Roman times? What are you talking about?
This is not.
You're sounding very.
Gladiator.
Your IQ is sounding very concerning right now.
Nigga, this is not Gladiator.
IQ.
What did I get into?
Wait a minute.
IQ.
Yo, what's up, Leah?
We talking about combat and warriors, nigga. You ain't going to war.
I mean, I can already tell you haven't spent enough hours in a career to be able to take pride in it. So you're projecting. You're projecting to be able to create like this relatability with gamers because they have spent a similar amount of hours in something as you.
Internet is that you don't know me to know what I do or what I value. So therefore, your
I can already tell
is null and void. You can't tell shit from me, my nigga.
You've already expressed it. You've been transparent. It's already obvious.
Ada, I'm gonna say this. Listen, you can't like devalue something that like it because it sounds like because you don't see it on the same level as how you see like whatever MMA or whatever that you feel
Brazilian
like,
jiu-jitsu.
But listen, right? Just like with the sorry if I mispronounced it, but Deontay. Sorry if I said it wrong, but just like he was saying, bro. Do you really think like always putting someone on the ground just to like get a few bucks is valuable? Let's.
What are you referring to when you say that? What?
Boxing, bro. Let's just say boxing.
Right? You said.
First of all, when I say martial arts, you're already implying that I'm referring to a sport, a combat sport. Not only does combat sports influence the movie industry, not only is martial arts an art as much as it is a sport, there is more to martial arts than just what you're describing, which is two people in a ring punching each other's face. Both historically, both mentally, both physically.
Right? Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. You say that, right? And I agree. I agree with you there. So then, what makes video games different? Because you're saying the exact same thing that I'm saying for your passion. So
because that doesn't apply to gaming.
Yes, it does.
But it does.
What are you talking about?
There are
Gaming
people
has influenced art. Gaming has
yes,
influenced the music industry.
yes, it
Gaming has
has.
influenced just as many
Gaming
things
has not
as martial
influenced
arts.
art. What are you talking
Yes,
about?
but there are
Yes,
artists.
it
Who
has.
do you think is creating the games? Artists.
The people creating the games, not the ones playing them.
Doesn't matter.
What?
So you think so by that logic,
It's
right?
called
If I am
consumerism. It means
hold
you're
on,
No,
following.
gang. No, gang.
You are
You're
the
done.
puppet.
But by that
You are
logic,
the puppet and the
actual hold
spaz
on,
of
would
the
you
people working in Microsoft to
you
create
keep
those
saying
games.
these things, but you're not making any sense. By your logic, I'm at Target right now. There are graphics all around this building. That's a job somebody did. By your logic,
Has nothing to do with
Michelangelo
video
is
games.
the people who buy I don't give a fuck if it has anything to do with video games. I'm making a point. By your logic, Leonardo da Vinci and every painter on earth, their work is basically meaningless to you because no one is there to buy it. If
No,
nobody
I just
buys it,
don't
what's the point?
associate
If nobody
being a
is using
video
it, what's the
gamer with
point?
being an artist. They're two very different things.
It is
Are
an
you
You
artist.
can't
delusional?
say
So
you can't
no.
say that
Oh my
when video
God.
games win like awards for like most creative graphics.
Wait,
Like they
hold on.
win art
Wait.
awards all the
Let me say
time.
this.
You
Let me
can't
say
say
this real quick.
that.
I know True Anime. I know you just
Girl,
came in. I do want
what?
to say your thing real quick, but real quick before I let True Anime say something.
Mm.
Is
Yes,
somebody who plays Monopoly an
wait,
artist?
Hey, hold
hold
on.
on.
Let him talk. Let him
No.
talk.
Gamers aren't artists, but we still interact with art. Just like with you, you might not be a pro
Okay,
at
I can
like
play Monopoly. It doesn't make me an
If you don't
artist.
let him talk, bro, this the hoe. Shut up.
So as gamers, we consume the art, right? So for you, like I said, I'm just assuming like MMA. Let's just say you're just starting out. I don't know. I'm just assuming, right? You're not a pro, but you're still consuming the sport. You're still consuming the
No, you're
game.
not consuming. You're disciplining.
That's
There's a difference.
God, please drop him
so you're
at
not
this point.
interacting with it. Anyway, matter of fact, before we derail, True Anime, what you got?
Video games is not going
Hold on,
to.
hold on,
In
hold
fact,
on.
you know the
Wait, wait,
reason
wait.
that there's
So why are
lawsuits
you
against
here?
video games
So why are you
companies.
here? Why are you
Ado,
here? If you don't want to engage in a
hold on,
conversation
real
in
quick.
good
So,
faith,
so
why are
you
you
know the
here?
distinction. You know the reason that there's
Let's clear it up.
lawsuits against video games companies.
Nigga, now you're gonna get the black out of me. Nigga, listen. I'm not a fan of trying to mute niggas' mics and shit, but if I tell you to shut the fuck up, okay? I let people speak here, and I'm not saying you can't speak here. But if I say shut up, just shut up for like a sec. Because I've let y'all speak, okay? Chill. True Anime, you just came up here. What you got to say about the prompt? I want to let you get a chance to say something.
As far as the prompt goes, I think anybody who plays a virtual video game is a gamer by category. So, like, if you play a mobile game, like let's say you play Candy Crush, by definition, you are a gamer. If you
Okay,
play,
so then let me.
you
Sorry,
know,
continue.
anything, if you play World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, Call of Duty, what have you, that all makes you a gamer.
So I'm gonna say that's a fair assessment. I'm gonna still say you're wrong, but it's a fair assessment. So let me follow it up with this. I imagine you play games all your life, right? I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So by the time you're 30 years old, how many games should you have played by then? I'm not saying you're 30. I'm just giving you a situation. You play games all your life. You get to 30 years old. How many games should you have played, like, around? Doesn't have to be an exact
Gosh,
number. Just give me, like, something you would feel would suffice.
I'd say over like at least close to 100 or maybe over 100.
All right, I'm gonna dap you up for that because that's what I say. Look, here's what I'm saying, Julian. There's levels to this shit. Okay. Obviously, if people play games, they play games. But if all you play is World of Warcraft all day, I'm not gonna call you a gamer. I'm gonna call you a World of Warcraft player. Right?
So Rainbow,
Because-
using that logic though, is someone who only plays basketball and not
Bro,
10
was
other
he
sports
talking to
is still
you?
an athlete.
Bro, was he talking to you?
That's horrible analogy, by the way. I can get to that in a second.
The most.
It's called
Like, damn, you
consistency to
dragging
logic.
it.
Well, hold
No,
on.
friend. Let him have the conversation with the other dude.
Hey, no, I can get to that.
Just-
But let me talk to True Gamer for a second. Listen, right? If if all you play is World of Warcraft, I'm gonna call you a World of Warcraft player, right? I can't call you a gamer, and I'm gonna tell you why, right? If I want to have a discussion with you, and all you can talk to me about is World of Warcraft, and I don't know much about World of Warcraft, I know something. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know some things, right? I can't have a deep conversation with you. But with you and me, since you say you play on average, you'd be like around 100 games, like if you're 30, right? I can have conversation with you. We can have like nostalgia trips of like, yo, remember the PS2? Like for me, I know none of you motherfuckers know about this game. Genji, Dawn of the Samurai. I know none of you niggas know about that game, right? I could talk to you about something like that, and you're like, whoa, Genji, Dawn of the Samurai. Never heard of that. Hey, bro, have you ever played NFL Street? I have played NFL Street, man. Yo, NFL Street. Let me dap you up for that, right? And we could like keep going and have these conversations. But if all you play is World of Warcraft, what else am I going to talk about besides World of Warcraft? Be so for real. That's what I'm saying. There's levels to
Well,
this.
you're
Shit. I'm not
I
saying
don't
that you
disagree.
can't like main a game, because if you main a game, right? If you main like 2K or whatever, and that's all you play, that is perfectly fine. No big deal for that. But I cannot call
Right.
you a gamer because you probably the same nigga that tells me gaming is dead. Like this is what I mean.
Well, the guy who most likely is playing World of Warcraft has probably played similar MOBAs. So like the most likelihood is that isn't their only game. But if I was to go with the assumption that it is that person's only game, then like yeah, categorically they would still be a gamer. They're just a World of Warcraft gamer. And
Right,
like
but that's the thing. They
the way I
only
see it
play
is
the
like
game.
if you go into a bakery, right, and it's a bakery and they only bake bread, it's still a bakery. Like the person you're talking to is still a baker
Right.
by all intents and
Sure.
purposes, but they only bake the one specific thing.
But see, but by name only that they're a baker, and I'll give you that they're by name. But when you tell me you're a baker, I'm thinking like, yo, this man makes like moon cakes, and he makes fucking like he decorates a bunch of shit. Like if you were a baker, and I want to have a conversation about baking, let's say I'm just getting into it, I want to hear everything about baking. But if all you do is bake bread, I can't get much out of you because all you do is bake bread. You see what I mean? Like if you want to have, and here's the thing. Here's the thing about labels too, right? Everyone wants to have the label of a gamer and shit. And honestly, you don't even have to, because when someone tells me I'm a gamer, right? I'm expecting, like, even if you just started with COVID, I'm expecting I could talk to you about the RAM shortage. I could probably talk to you about the Game Awards. What's going to be next for the Game Awards? I'm like ready to have discussions with you.
I think
All
think
you
your
can, if all you
expectations
can
a
be is surface
little.
level shit, I
Sorry.
can't do that. No, you good, because that's essentially what I'm saying too. If all you can give me is service level shit, I can't call you gamer like that. I just can't.
But that's
I mean,
but I think that's kind of a flawed argument, though.
you're gonna
I
run
think
into that with a lot of other people because your expectations and what you would
You know how
qualify as a gamer is like by definition is just different than what it is definitionally.
you know how
Like,
people who are consumers
you
of
know?
TikTok can do TikTok dances and then make millions of dollars off of the platform that was invented by somebody else. So essentially, it's the same in the sense that consumerism is something that is, evolving in the modern generation and the Gen Z generation, to the point where what used to be what you when you used to need to be a creator, now you can profit as a consumer by posting yourself in gamer. The term gamer or gamerism is a byproduct of that. It's basically like the people who can post nothing but random pictures on TikTok and still be able to profit off.
Then let's see if we're consistent here. Let's see if we're consistent. If I said that I stream on Twitch and that's all I did, like I never touched YouTube, I never touched TikTok, I never touched anything, right? But I only stream on Twitch. Would you call me a streamer or a content creator?
You would
You're a
be
They're
streamer.
I mean,
synonymous.
You're a streamer.
I mean,
Content
they're
creation and
both
streaming are
You're a
not
streamer.
synonymous.
So
they're
if I
both
said I'm a
synonymous
content
terms, so
creator,
you could use both interchangeably. Honestly,
right?
I don't
But
think
if
so.
I tell
I
you,
don't think you
if I
can.
tell you I'm a content creator, you like really think about it for a second. Really think about it. If I said, "Hey, I'm a content creator," you expect me to have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Purple app. I forgot you can't say that word. Oh, Jesus, right? You're expecting a Twitter out of me, but if all I do is stream on one app on the Purple app, and that's all I do for content, you can't call me a content creator. You can call me a
Well, I
streamer.
mean, because of the fact
You can
that
call me a content creator.
content creation outdates, like in terms of how old it is, it outdates streaming. It's impossible to be a successful streamer without content creation.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
why I'm
Hold
Can,
on.
saying, and that's why
let
I'm
me
saying the two terms
let
are
me ask this.
synonymous because it really depends on how you define and distinguish a content
The
creator
two.
from a streamer.
No, I'm
Let me ask you
saying
this question.
content creation is the original version of streaming. It
Jesus.
outdates it. So in order to be a streamer, you have to be able. It's like streaming is a plus. Streaming is a way to, you it can be your main, I guess version of advertising your skills. But you have to be able to create content to be a streamer. Otherwise, you're just gonna be making chump change.
Let me pose this question: is an optometrist a doctor?
Yes.
Is a dentist a doctor?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you are, I'm asking this because to go back to the gaming conversation. Just because you focus on you are mastered in one area of the overall umbrella term of gaming, it still makes you a gamer. Same with being a doctor. Optometry and dentistry are not the same profession. Now, do they do something similarly? Yeah, like they have to be able to check your vitals, your blood pressure, all of that stuff. They have to be able to do basic things like that, but their fields are vastly different.
Okay. So
A surgeon and a general practitioner are also not the same. Just like I'm a lander, but you get what I'm saying. They're different fields, but they're all under the same
you're
umbrella.
comparing
So,
science, like the
oh my
entire
God,
broad
respectfully,
medical
please,
field and science to the gaming
respectfully,
industry.
sir, please stop speaking to me because I'm not because
First of
you
all,
are being very
you tried to
disingenuous.
call
I wasn't
something
even
out as
talking
if it
to
was a
you. I
contradiction to
wasn't even
something I
talking
said,
to
and I
you.
never
I
mentioned
wasn't
anything
even
about
talking
that.
to you. I wasn't even talking to you. So
Yes, you were.
respectfully
You
stop
literally
speaking to
called
me.
me out to
No,
say
I was
something.
asking the host. I was talking to the
No, you were
host.
not.
I'm not
Hold on.
talking to you.
Real quick. Hold on. I would say like they're a doctor by like association, but I wouldn't like call them a doctor because when I say doctor, I'm like the umbrella term is like going to like the office. But if I'm saying like for teeth, I'm gonna be like I'm going to the dentist. I'm not going
Yeah,
to the doctor.
but by trade and by
How would you
profession,
refer
they are
a
doctors.
person?
Absolutely. No,
So wait,
absolutely, and
host, can I ask you a question?
that's why I say for
Host,
and
can
just
I ask you a question?
oh yeah, go ahead.
And I only want to ask you, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I only want to ask because it's in my head right now. So, like, when you're in the dentist's office, right, and
Yeah.
you're looking for your dentist and you address them, right? Let's say, for the sake of argument, your dentist is Umar Johnson, right?
Oh no.
And you say, right, let's just go with the example, right?
Yeah, I
How
got
do
you. You
you
go.
address them? You know what I mean? Do you just say, "Can I go to the dent? Like, can you refer me to the dentist Umar?" Or do you say Doctor Umar?
Right, but see, and that example, I still feel the same way. Where yes, I would obviously say doctor because that's what his title is. But and that's why I say for gamer, there's levels to this shit. You could title yourself as a gamer. That's fine. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but there's levels to this shit, and there's like expectations.
But okay,
Like
if somebody is a goldfish eater, it's like something has to be respectable enough to be able to even have a title in the first place. You could turn anything into a title. You could say, "I am a goldfish eater." If it's not a
Is this
Well, being
respectable action, then it's
is this
just
your
being a
friend?
naming a
gamer
verb.
Is this your
being a
friend? Because he ain't making
gamer
no sense.
being
hey,
a
he
gamer is not a title that you earn. It's a title that you. It's not even a
Right,
title.
right.
It's just
Well,
a
I mean that
descriptor. It's
I
just what
agree
you
with
are
you.
to describe yourself.
real
Well,
quick,
I
though.
agree
It's
with
really
you, which is
nothing
why
to
when you
earn.
mentioned Candy Crush earlier,
I want to make sure to do this in a way where like there's actual like physically show instead of just saying it. Let's go back to the whole like content creation thing. This is my Twitch. I'm not trying to glaze myself. This is just an example. If I said, "Hey, this is the only website I use for content," would you call me a content creator or a streamer?
For me personally, I would say you're both because I don't see much distinction now in
But if all
streamers
I
and
did was
content
on Twitch,
creators.
like no, but if all I did was be on Twitch, like I never touched any other app. I never touched Twitter. I never touched TikTok. I never touched YouTube. All that. Would you just say, "Hey, that's the streamer," or "Hey, that's the content creator"?
unless someone's main source of income comes from streaming or from gaming or from any other type of content, I wouldn't call them. I wouldn't refer to them as that name. I would say, "Oh, you are just whatever you are, whatever your main profession is, and
Yeah.
your side hustle is streaming."
Or I
Right,
would just
so-
say you're a streamer.
No, I wouldn't call them a straight. Like if they're not, if somebody plays basketball on the weekends but they're a doctor, then they're not a basketball player.
Now wait a minute. So if I just do Twitch, I'm just a streamer. But if I do all this, are you gonna call me a streamer or a content creator?
No, I'm saying if it's not your main source of income, if you're not profiting off of it on a professional level or you're paying the rent with it, I wouldn't call you a streamer. I would just say your side hustle is streaming and you make bank off of it.
But what would you call
To
somebody?
me,
What would you call
it
somebody
depends
who?
on.
Wait. But
To me,
hold on, real
it's-
quick. Sorry, wait, True Anime, real
Okay.
quick. I don't want to interrupt you, but real quick. By that logic, are you saying that if someone streams on Twitch, you're just saying when you refer to somebody say, "Hey, I stream on Twitch," are you gonna say, "Oh yeah, you're doing that"? Oh, you stream on Twitch, so are you the side hustler, or are you gonna say, "Oh, that you stream on Twitch, you're a streamer"? I didn't know that. Which one would you say?
If they're famous and that's not really analogous, because if they are famous
sure?
enough to be recognized, they're living off of that career. So at that point, they are a streamer. I'm saying if it's not your main source of income, if you're not reputable or recognizable, or have
Okay,
some kind of fame.
Let's go back to let's go back to you with the mixed martial arts and shit. Do you make money off of it?
No, I could, but no.
So you don't make money off of
in
it.
tournaments
So-
or anything like that. Because even
Hopefully in the future.
Because I would
So
argue,
then
you don't
I
have
can't
to
really
be a
call you
successful
someone who's in
streamer in order to be a
sports. You
streamer.
don't make money off of it. I can't call you like.
Well, I
someone
mean,
in-
the distinction is, and this is why I was bringing in the mental aspect of martial arts, is because I consider most people consider martial arts, whether it's a fight, because of how industrialized it's become. They see it as 75% physical, 25% mental, and I see
Okay.
it either as the opposite, if not 50-50. And because of that, like for example, if somebody uses Buddhist principles, it doesn't mean they have to adopt it as a career. It just means they're adopting the principles in practice.
Okay, when I use religion, that doesn't really equate. I get what you're trying to say, but
I'm
that's-
saying that martial arts have their own set of philosophy and lifestyle outside of the dojo, like stuff
Oh,
like
that's
whether
cool.
you're going to
That's
your child's daycare or whether you're going to the park
I'll say
or
this.
where you're going to
That's
school. Like
cool. Hold on, that's cool, and I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But you don't make money off of it, so I can't even say that you're a part of the sport. You don't make money off of it.
yeah, no, I would agree.
If
You wouldn't. If I said
hold on,
if I said
even
I
take
am
your
an
opposing.
MMA
I can
fighter,
take your opposing.
I would be lying. But I'm saying in order to have the title MMA fighter, I would have to make that amount of money off of it, like I said. But to say
So you're
somebody's
not
a
making-
martial artist would be the same as calling somebody a gamer, in which I would be able to allow it because I agree with what's the name of the person under at the bottom? True something. When they mentioned that they consider somebody, even if it's just Candy Crush on their phone, a gamer. That's how I view gaming, where like it's not something that requires a certain amount of respect to earn the title. It's more so just a descriptive term for someone who practices it. For example, if somebody practices martial arts, but they're not a professional MMA fighter, then they're not an MMA fighter, but they're still a martial artist. Or if somebody is a gamer, but if somebody plays video games, but they're not a professional gamer, they're still a gamer. Or if somebody is very scholarly but is not teaching, then they're still a scholar. They're just not a teacher.
Okay, so if someone wears a Pikachu backpack, are they a nerd?
That's a
sorry?
derogatory term, but like, what do you mean? What?
Wait, how's being a nerd derogatory? I don't think that's derogatory at all. That's just facts.
I mean, the whole
But
origin of the word is derogatory. Whether it's related, whether you associate. I mean, I'm not saying I would be offended by the word, but I'm saying that
I didn't even hear the question.
Oh,
What type of
what
nerd
about
are we
being a
talking
nerd?
about? Academic nerd or just like a nerd? Like
I
nerd?
was saying if you wear a Pikachu backpack, are you a nerd?
That's like a that's
No,
I
that's
feel
a
like that's
geek.
more like
That's
a
not a
geek.
nerd.
Yeah, that's more of a geek. A
Okay,
nerd to
okay,
me
so-
is like academic wise.
yeah, a
Okay.
nerd is a smart person. A geek is just like a
Okay.
into slightly less
Yeah,
masculine
that I
hobbies.
agree with.
We'll go geek then. We'll go geek. If I only
Okay,
wear a
yeah.
Pikachu backpack, am I geek?
Geek.
At that point?
No, no,
Am
no.
I geek if I only wear a Pikachu backpack? Nothing
No,
else.
I mean I would say you're just like a fan.
Somebody who considers themselves a gamer, like in title, not just like in terms of saying like I'm a gamer. Like for example, if I say I've played video games, I played PUBG on my phone, and I consider myself a gamer because of that. But if we're talking about like something further than that, and somebody calls themselves a gamer further than that, and on a deeper level, that's a geek.
Wait,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it
Okay.
depends. Like, if you are actually interested in
Which
Pokemon,
debatably, I mean,
and
it might not
Pokemon
even be
happens to
derogatory
be-
for some people because look at Best Buy, they have the Geek Squad.
right? And like, my whole thing is with the analogy here is like, it depends on that person's level of interest in the thing that they're consuming, right? So if I saw someone with a Pikachu backpack or like a Steven Universe hamburger backpack, right? Like whatever, I would assume that that person has some sort of level of interest in that medium. So yeah,
now
In my
Hold
opinion,
on.
things like this
So,
are
Andrew,
like only,
I'm so.
you know how
hold
they
on,
say
real-
like hard
real quick.
times,
Hold on, wait, Ada, real quick. What you just said, True Anime, is exactly my point. What you just said literally is agreeing with my point. There is
Wait,
levels to
what
this
what
shit
part?
and certain expectations if you want to label yourself, if you want to like put something on yourself. There's certain
No, but I'm saying
expectations.
you can still use the term informally. Like there's two different ways of using the term. Like there's the like what True mentioned earlier. There's I'm a gamer because I play Nintendo Switch, and then there's I'm a professional gamer, which is and the reason that I don't think that it's
So
as
there's levels to this shit.
the reason that I don't think it's comparable to a profession is because there's not a large enough bracket of category for it to fall under. It just falls under consumerism. It's the same as content consuming. It's the same as groceries or certain types of snacks that are addicting. Like consuming video games is exactly what the video games are designed for you to do. So you're falling into the spider web of what the people who actually spend 10 years of mastering coding are doing for you to do.
You make this sound like it's you know how what this argument sounds like? This argument sounds like you're saying like, yo, love isn't real, bro. It's just chemicals in your brain. That's what you make that sound like, right?
What?
I'm not even gonna care.
No,
Yo,
I'm just saying that video gaming is a game at the end of the day, and that if somebody has been, if the content they're consuming has been saturated to primarily games in their childhood, and their hobbies are generally consisted of games as opposed to other hobbies, whether it was more physical or something more academic or whatever else, then their brain has already associated gaming and created a higher level or like a different perspective to gaming, and I think that for example, when I wanted to make this comparison earlier. Do you know why lawsuits exist for people under the age of 18 and even over the age of 18, but the majority under the age of 18 for video game companies going across everything from Call of Duty to Fallout to like the list goes on.
like why do lawsuits exist?
The reason that they exist is because of the fact that they've acknowledged the negative mental impacts, and I'm not referring to depression or whatever else. I'm referring to psychological habits and a complete distortion of certain psychologically observable patterns and behaviors because of video games, whether it's their cognitive ability to process things, or it could be linked to depression, it could be anxiety, it could be ADHD, it could be whatever else. So video games has that because video games is not designed to progress your full potential as a human being. It's meant to be like pizza or like ice cream for you to consume for fun. If you eat pizza en masse, you get fat, you get unhealthy, and that's what video games is designed for, to eat it like pizza, not to eat it as a career. Okay, so let me make the comparison. Let me finish real quick.
Wait a minute.
Because I was going to compare it to martial arts. Hold up. So with martial arts, on the other hand, right? Martial arts is designed to progress your state of consciousness, to progress both your physical health and your mental health. So it's an opposite trajectory as far as the intentionality behind it, because it's not designed to be consumed. It's designed with an intentionality, both mentally and physically, which is why even if you aren't a professional, you can associate yourself with it, because it falls under a bracket beyond more than just violence. It falls under a bracket of mentality as well.
So are we going to sit here like and be so dead ass and disregard all the studies that put video games in a positive light for like learning and shit? Are we actually going to disregard that?
100%, yeah, because there's studies. You could make a study.
Okay.
You could make a study for literally anything. If you know anything about psychological studies, there's studies that prove literally every avenue and every opposing opinion in psychology, because it's so subjective.
Hey, no, bro. I actually gotta stop you, bro. So we're saying that all those studies about video games and how they affect the brain and shit, and especially like the ones that have it in a positive light, we're just gonna say that's fake now?
Okay, and meth helped the Nazi warriors stay awake. It doesn't mean that it has an overall positive impact on the soldiers.
I'm asking for the ones that show positivity, like for gaming and shit. Like all those studies are all those studies.
Elaborate as to what cognitive behaviors are progressing.
I can't say. I'm gonna kind of paraphrase, so I can't say I remember everything, but I've seen like articles where like people who game versus who don't game have like are better equipped for problem solving, and I've seen studies that like, because everything in this world, right? Let's be so for real. Everything in this world, if you do it too much,
but put context to problem solving.
It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, because there's a difference between problem solving child support versus problem solving a puzzle. Like there's different types of problems to solve. There's life problems. There's more algorithms, mathematical equations that someone has to solve as a problem. So what are you referring to as a problem?
I literally said like they said problem solve. This is why I'm
solving the where Zelda goes to save the princess. How does that help someone to are you saying it helps their ability to process certain algorithms for math, their ability to see certain scenarios through the video game to apply them to their real life? What are you trying to say?
Obviously, I'm like I said, I'm paraphrasing, so I'm even saying like I remember. Wait, what'd you say, Trey? What?
No, I was saying I think that's belaboring the point a little though. Like you don't need to know the specific kind of.
Well, there's a completely there's an important to create a distinction.
I mean, yeah, but if we tie ourselves up in knots in order to get to that distinction,
they're completely different. They're not like similar to each other. Solving life problems and solving an algebra equation is two completely different types of problems.
Right, but either way, both.
And those aren't the only applicable problems. What I'm saying is that there's dozens of answers someone could have given, which is why I'm asking which one, because it's not just two types of problems that exist.
Right. Obviously, I'm sure I can, like, if I looked it up later, I could find, like, everything exactly. Hey, Rose, I don't know if you're still here. I just saw what you sent me for a message. Good God.
No.
But it's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you're disregarding something that's a hobby just because you're not, like, I wouldn't say too well versed in it, but you're not.
No, I accept it as a hobby. That's what I accept it as.
But no. But what I'm saying is, I think you're putting it down because you're not as involved as like someone like me or someone like Elliot or someone like True Anime.
Because it's easy. There was a point where I was addicted to video games. I understand the passion. I understand what it is to spend money on video games, hundreds of dollars to be able to progress or to try to go streaming like part-time to see how it goes. I've been through all of that. My point is I don't entertain it and I don't feed into it because I see the bigger picture.
But see, here's the issue. Like, if you weren't that big of a gamer, I could see why you would feel the way you feel with some of these things. Even though you're wrong, I can understand it because you're not as like into the culture as like me and.
No, it's not about being into the culture. Right? It's a game. It's no different than checkers and Monopoly.
But let me finish. I can understand how you feel if you weren't into it like we were or like we are, but you have been in the space like that for the longest. And you mean to tell me you're gonna downplay it just because you don't do it no more? Or are you gonna downplay it because like, oh well, I felt like it was an addiction and all addictions are bad. Like I
No,
need
no,
to
no. Okay, okay.
understand
So
where
I understand
this
what you're
like
saying.
downplay
I don't
came
see
from.
it
Like what
as downplaying it. So here's the thing, right? I think that
you're not
let me
downplaying?
rephrase, because I think that perhaps based off of like the trajectory of where the conversation was going, I may have used a certain wording that seemed like negative or to talk down on video games. When I say that I don't respect it as a profession, I don't see that as talking negatively. I see that as altruistic. So like if, for example, if somebody didn't see eating hot Cheetos as a profession, and they don't see it as talking negatively about that action, they see it as altruistic and or neutral about that action. So that's how I feel in terms of my perception on video games. I don't see it as talking negatively. I just see it as something that's basically consumerism, and that video gamers, especially if they're young, especially if they're teenagers, fall into, and they like, basically what video games does is it shoots dopamine to our brains at a consistent basis that our brains are not wired to positively be affected by. It's similar to pornography, where like if our brain is overloaded with too much neurotransmitters at a time, it has negative impacts because our brain is not designed to receive that. So and then it has other chemical impacts and physical impacts on your body. So because of
Which
that,
is true.
that's why it's important to acknowledge that it is a game, because if you don't acknowledge it's a game, you will fall under like a category where you are like addicted to the positive reinforcement that either winning a game or the money, which is very motivating, the potential money you could make from that video game, because it gives you a faster result than it would to train 6 hours in a gym every day.
Which is why I said
When you're in the gym and you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, and there's nobody at the gym but you there, and you're just curling on the machine, there's nobody there but you, and you feel like you're going crazy, and you're there for like 2 hours, that is a discipline that video gaming doesn't do, because video game has short-term it shoots neurotransmitters to you faster. It's not going to be like something, oh, you have to be on a video game 6 months to have a single piece of dopamine reach your brain. And I'm just using working out as an example. It applies to academics. It applies to everything else.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because even when it comes to physical training, you still experience dopamine spikes. Even when it comes to academic stuff, you still experience dopamine spikes. Like when you
if we're
when you
referring to
successfully
endorphins,
understand,
are
like,
you referring to
academic-
endorphins?
Yeah.
Yeah, endorphins and dopamine is two different things.
Well, endorphins and dopamine. Like I would imagine.
And endorphins
I
is
would
something that's released.
I would imagine someone experiences amounts of dopamine when they pass a test.
Yeah, we
or
experience
when they hit a
dopamine
new
regularly. You're
PR.
experiencing dopamine right now because it's constantly circulating through your body. It doesn't mean that it's a higher amount than usual.
So I don't. Okay, but I fail to see how that disqualifies.
Because of the discipline. Because to wake up at 4 a.m. to play video games positively reinforces you, while to wake up at 4 a.m. and drive all the way to the gym with nobody else in the gym, and you like having to motivate yourself, is not going to positively reinforce you. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard.
That's opposed, but you could do the same thing with gaming in a sense.
No,
That's why I'm saying,
you can, but it's
to
not
me-
difficult.
to
That's
me,
my
I
point.
don't like
Rolling
the
over
black
to the
and
side of
white
the bed,
thinking of it.
grabbing some snacks from downstairs, grabbing some chocolate or some from whatever else, a bag of chips, sitting down at the PS4 at 3 a.m. is easy. That is in fact, you're motivated by the tasks in the video game. It's a testament to it being something that you have to be careful with. You have to consume it in proportion, because if not, it's just like chocolate, it's just like pizza. If you have too much of it, it's unhealthy.
once again, you have this negative mindset of what gaming is.
It's not
There's-
negative. It's science. It's secular. It's secular evidence versus bias.
Wait, hold on. So you saying getting up and all you do when you game is like you go downstairs to get chips and then come back and then you just stuff your face like that. So like you mean tell me you're not?
So what is your routine? Since apparently it's a routine, right? It's not just sitting down at the PlayStation. What is the routine?
I'm not saying routines or anything. I'm just saying like there are gamers out there who also go to the gym and shit and still play games on the regular. There are still people like that. Like gaming is a hobby.
Well, no, it's not
Okay,
even-
so
it's not
bringing
even
that
just-
up-
it's not even
bringing
the
that up
character.
does
It's
not-
To me, I don't see the
That
argument
doesn't
as being
that
predicated
doesn't
on the
refute
character. I
any
think he's
principle
making
that
the
I brought
argu-
up so far. That doesn't refute
I
any
think he's
claim that I've
making
made.
the argument predicated upon gaming in and of itself. Like there isn't much to be a gamer. Like you can get on the game and anyone. And to that,
No, I'm just
effect and to that
I'm referring to
idea,
at a
it's
primal
like-
level, at a biological level, what our bodies are designed to do as human beings. And I'm not trying to say we should go out into the woods and live in the woods and hunt freaking deer and live out of a tent. But I'm saying, physically speaking, we are designed to an extent to not consume certain things en masse. So, like for example, have you ever talked to somebody who's very intellectual? I mean, I don't know if you guys have been familiar. I've spoke to them because I was in these, like, when I was in juvie in these behavioral facilities, there were some kids that were like super intellectual, and however, even though they were able to intellectually describe in depth the substances, or I don't know if I'm allowed to say drugs,
We get it.
right, they were able to describe in depth the substances they were doing, both as to their psychological effects, their psychiatric effects, the neurological effects, how to make them, how to distribute them, etc. In detail, like as if they were a freaking chemist, like Breaking Bad. But just because they're able to describe it on that intellectual level, and just because they see the positive influence or the positive impact it has
nothing to
on
do
their
with
life.
being able to
Hold on.
describe
It does have positive impact on their life, meaning that it has given them joy. It has given them something to hustle for. It does not mean that in a bigger picture that it's something positive, nor physically nor mentally. And that's something that's backed by both science and secular evidence. And if somebody has been hyper exposed to content, whether it's substances, whether it's video games, whether it's any type of other
You say
consumerism.
cognitive bias, but this is like a statistical bias. Like this is not like
No, it's not
you can
statistical
take
bias. This is
statistical data
science.
and like
Science, biology is not statistic. Biology is just biology. If your brain is
Yes,
not
okay,
wired
you
to
don't
be able
understand
to
that.
eat.
So you take a group of people, and this biology is going to take the average of all these people that actually interact with that medium, and then they're going to put it on a graph, and that's how we get biological studies. Like that's what you're referring to. There are ways, like people are scrolling TikTok or playing the game like they're scrolling TikTok for sure, but that's
Well, I
definitely
mean,
not
I
taking
understand
into
what you're
account a
saying,
type
but
of
like, for
person
example,
that
if
is
we
actually
can,
trying to hone a skill, like they're actually like researching, they're practicing, and that dopamine isn't gonna be achieved until that goal is like, until an ideal has been like
But-
seen.
so you know
sort of
how
thing.
like for H2O,
Like,
you
for
add an
instance,
extra molecule.
like- Oh, my fault.
You know how like when you add an extra molecule to H2O, it already turns into poison because of, H2O2, right? So just because let's say there was some kind of acidic compound that when you add that one extra molecule, it was able to dissolve another medium, or let's say it's a piece of wood or whatever else, and you add that extra molecule, that chemical process is going to happen objectively regardless of whether you put those 2 drops of whatever acid on a piece of wood or you put them on a piece of metal. It's going to happen either way. Now, if you put it on top of a piece of wood and it happens to dissolve the wood, and then you put it on top of a piece of metal and it doesn't dissolve the metal, it doesn't disqualify the fact that objectively that chemical reaction to the 2 drops of acid touching each other happened. So it's the same thing, meaning that like just because, let's say in this case, the piece of wood and the piece of metal is somebody's different bodies, yes, our bodies are going to react differently to it, but the chemical reaction itself is objectively going to happen every time, and we're able to acknowledge that.
These
Okay,
analogies
so
are just getting beyond me.
wood
I'm
and
gonna
pieces
do
of metal aren't able to be psychologically trained, and you can literally train your stimuli to be rewarded for different things. Yes, you could scroll scrolling TikTok is bad. Playing queuing on Fortnite repetitively is probably bad. But like, we're not talking about those people. We're talking about people that are trying to improve a skill. Like, yes, you could do drugs, and you can. It's not like doing drugs. It's like
It's
improving
consumerism.
really
That's
is
all it is. It's
not.
consumerism.
Well, wait. I feel like you're being a little surface
I'm gonna
level
say
in how
this.
you're engaging with the idea and concept of consumerism. Like,
That's
yes,
all
you are.
in definition.
Hold on,
You can ask the
hold on,
people
hold on,
at
hold on.
Microsoft.
I
You
waited.
can ask the
I
people
waited.
at Meta.
I waited.
Hey, no,
I
you
waited.
spoken a lot, bro.
You feel me?
If you took
So,
the
like,
pieces of metal or whatever the fuck you're talking about,
Even-
if you can't put it on a
even if
one-dimensional
I-
graph. Like,
You know the
Hold on, wait,
irony. You know the irony of the facts.
Before I mute you
It's
guys,
so
before I-
ironic.
it's
It's
a
so ironic that
statistical
you could.
bias.
Motherfuckers, I don't want to mute you myself. I want y'all to have the thought process of like, when I say shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up.
Oh.
True anime. Finish what you're gonna say, bro, and let the man land his plane. Don't fucking just start speaking. True anime. What you got to
Oh
say?
no, what I was saying is just like I just think the idea that playing video games is just all consumerism and there is no skill attached, there is no care or like grind attached to it. I just think that's a folly. Like that's a faulty argument to have because you look at these fighting game people who do that. You, no matter if I put you on a new fighting game for 10 hours, let's say that new Avatar game, right? Clean slate. I put you in there for 10 hours and I put Sonic Fox in there for 10 hours and then I have the both of y'all fight each other. Are you gonna beat him? No, you not.
Okay, so first of all,
lose.
I never denied that there was skill involved. What I'm saying is the applicable value of that skill. For example, if somebody is a professional hot dog eater, a professional eater, they develop a skill to the point where it, their bodily autonomy literally mutates. Their stomach mutates, their intestines mutate to be able to do that skill. So yes, it is a skill for them. However, in terms of applicable skill, aside from the fact that they could have some kind of monetary reward for winning that competition, where else is the skill applicable to eating, dunking a bunch of hot dogs in water and shoving it in your mouth? You're not going to survive in the. Hold up, let me finish. You're not going to survive. In terms of survival, it has no applicable use. In terms of business, it has no applicable use. In terms of protecting your family, it has no applicable use. In terms of literally anything else other than the individual cause and reward of winning money from that skill, it has no skill. I mean, it has no value in the skill, and it's the same with gaming. It's a consuming.
My only question would then be: does it have to have an equitable quality to it? Like,
If you,
do
yes,
I have to be able to take the knowledge and skills that are utilized in gaming and utilize it elsewhere in order for the skill set to be valuable? Like if I'm a painter. Oh wait! I just want to move forward with this line of thinking. Like if I'm a painter. If I'm a painter and my value comes from my skill in painting, but I can't use my skill in paintings to beat up this guy who's trying to mug me or something to that effect where it's like a real life practical. I'm still a painter and I still have value in painting and there is still a skill set in painting that is unique to that, but it's not applicable to any other thing outside of it.
It's applicable to several other things.
Value of it.
It's applicable to several other things. If you don't understand how art is applicable, it's applicable to a political influence. Art has been one of the most politically influential things throughout history.
Wait. No, I actually got to step out on that one. Wait, no. Hold on. I got to step out on that one. You said art could be political and like influence political shit? Is gaming not art?
Gamers are political
Gaming not
figures.
art?
Fuck no.
On that note.
You cannot compare freaking PewDiePie to Da Vinci.
Stop. No, I'm gonna say
You
this.
think
No, I'm gonna say this.
Atrioc
On
and
that
like
note.
Vouch
Literally,
are like
no. Wait,
not
Rival.
political figures?
Hold on,
They've been
hold on,
gaming for
wait.
years.
You cannot compare I Show Speed to
Wait.
Picasso.
Okay, no. Stop.
You Loki could.
On
though.
that note,
Bad
wait.
comparison.
It's
I
a-
mean, and specifically in regards to the gaming, because I Show Speed is
I
entertaining, but I'm saying specifically in terms of the gaming.
If I say stop, I'm just ruining everybody, bro.
No, because why are you comparing the game
Anime,
merge
anime,
in question
no,
rather
anime,
than the game
anime,
as an art
anime.
form in and of itself?
Hey, wait a minute. I'm gonna say, like, literally it's 6 o'clock for me, for one, and also for two. From what you just said, Ado, Jesus Christ, from what you said, Ado. On that note, I'm gonna end the stream. I'm not gonna end just yet, but I am gonna kick you guys off the panel because I got a few last things to say. So thanks for the people who did come up here. Appreciate you. Good conversations, all that type of shit. Make sure to like the live if you're still gonna be here for a little bit, and follow me if you haven't already, because I try to do TikTok streams every day. So I'm gonna kick y'all out. Good conversation. When we have this conversation tomorrow, next time, we can continue on. But
Yeah,
for right
good
now, I
call.
gotta end it. So let me just do that. Let's do that. I know some of y'all still had some of y'all up that were up here still had some things to say, but I do have to cut it short because it is 6 o'clock for me. Stream tomorrow. I'm also going to put up some videos for YouTube, so watch out for those. After what was just said from you, Ado, like, I'm not trying to call you out, but you were like the only one on the opposite end of this discussion. From what you just said, bro, literally on that note. With that said, thanks for the people who came. Thanks for the people who didn't. And I will catch y'all when I catch y'all.